To me, influencer marketing is an event, but to me, it should be an experience. That the traditional idea of the spiritual angle that what you're getting is from the roots, so it has a spiritual essence. It's from water.
How does it work with your new lens when it comes to data gathering and analytics, and how do you use AI to work?
We're not going to talk to consumers from a demographic and simply psychographic level. We're going to talk to them from a sense of community.
Good day, everyone. Welcome again to the Pivot Point podcast. Today I have an interesting guest in the house, Franklin. We ran into each other during the week in a big conference, and then something about him caught my fancy. The consumer-centric approach and mindset that he has was very intriguing for me. Today we are going to talk about the consumer, but I'll share a bit of a background and the history, like a prelude into the conversation. So you all remember the industrial era where companies were basically putting effort into driving efficiencies and productivity. I mean, we know what we call a division of labor. This was the mantra for this era. And companies were focused 100% in driving the production to the highest level. Nobody was talking even about the brand or the consumer. This era finally led to another era where the product itself was a big discourse. And everybody was focusing on creating differentiation between their product to drive better sales. After this era, we went into an era where the consumer started becoming a subject matter. People were not just designing product because the product were functional or efficient or able to do what they were designed to do. People started designing product to suit the consumer. And that led to in-depth knowledge analysis about the consumer. And the story didn't end there. The consumer not only took center stage, people started categorizing consumers, and we started hearing words like the consumer tribe. People were designing not for all consumers, but the tribe, people that appreciate the quality, willing to pay for it, and are willing to stay with the brand. And that era was the last era, or let me say where my knowledge was updated up to, until I ran into Franklin during the week, and he reminded me that maybe my knowledge needs to be updated. And that's why Franklin is on the show today. Franklin.
Thank you for having me, Samuel. It's a pleasure to be here.
You want to say a few words about yourself?
Yeah, sure thing. I've always loved strategy, and I was introduced to it about 15 years ago.
15?
Yes, 15. When I started working with a media agency called Media Reach.
Okay.
I started as an intern. And that sort of grounded me on the basics of go-to-market, because it was the end part of the consumer communication funnel. Yeah. After you've done your brand strategy, media analytics, we were vested with the assignment in which channels should we connect this with people to? First of all, understand them in implementation across channels, whether it's digital, social media, or traditional channels. Yeah. And I did that for quite some time. And I worked on brands like Promasido, which is a very high intense FMCG brand, as you can tell. I worked on Guinness. Okay. I worked on MTN. Okay. So those grounded me very quickly. And I worked with cool guys like Dilu Dubimi, Femi Adelusi, Brendan Wago, and these are top, people. I think they all run their media agencies right now, And from then I worked briefly at McCann Erickson. Yeah. Again, I was made head of new media. It was called new media for the digital space then. Okay. And then as a strategic planner, again, I worked on Coca-Cola for a while, Peugeot, British Airways, and stuff like that. Before I now finally, moved on to Insights, Publicis, where I spent much of my career, again as a strategy planner, but then at a manager level. Okay. And I worked fully on brands like PepsiCo and SBC Bottling Company. Worked fully on Pepsi, Miranda and all of the brands, water to soft drinks to malt. And then again, I worked on MTN, both the youth segment, and across different spaces from Visa to AXA to, you name it, from fintech to beauty and care, e-commerce brands. So again, I was very continuous in what I was doing, which was strategic planning. Yeah. But thing about is as you move up the growth ladder, you move from the basics of doing brand strategy every day to sort of now become like a growth consultant. Started talking to maybe the CEOs and captains of industries, because some of the problems wasn't about communication or even trying to advertise to the audience. It was sometimes the problem with the product. Sometimes they had a good idea, but they were not sure if it was grounded on the right level. So we're seeing ourselves doing a lot of internal audits and development of their frameworks and systems. Sometimes even as far as going as far as doing employee acculturation, even the right people. Working with brands like NASCO to unbundle their go to market, but more importantly, in terms of identify their even key distributors from Lagos to Jos and across it, and again across both the vertical and horizontal. When we're talking, for example, cereal, working across those verticals, looking at things like cleaning products. So do we even write nomenclature? Do we have the right packaging? What are the price points? Who are we talking to? Where should we come out? Should we do original campaign? Who are your sales and key distributors here? Can we map an outline and framework? Which ones will be your frontier? Which one will be your second frontier? So all of those things, thankfully got me very well nuanced in the various dimensions of consumer segmentation. And we're not just talking, like I said, beyond advertising or marketing, because sometimes you could work on months before you even say any campaigns out there. So thankfully I went through those spaces, but I always felt there was a missing gap somewhere. In the kind of work we do, you work a lot with research agencies, you do a lot with consultancy, sometimes you come for RFPs and you work with clients. So there was a gap, which was data wasn't the problem. We always either purchase either from the client side or our side. We'll do research if we're going to pitch. But I felt at the point it was commoditized. The problem was we don't have data. After a while, we have lots of data. We have too much data. But the data was commoditized because it was the same thing we were applying to a soft drinks. It was the same thing we were talking to a telco. And it was the same thing we were giving to, maybe an alcoholic beverage. We're talking, for example, the much used term youths, Gen Zs, and co on and so forth. But from my own perspective there's a context in which this thing should be used. So, for example, we always say 70% of consumers or Nigerians in Nigeria are youth. To me, what does that really mean in its sense? It has to be applied differently to a beauty and scare brand versus the way it's applied to a soft drink brand. So those breakdown, those contexts weren't really given. You as a planner had to still do that work. So you could pay millions for data, but when you're talking to PepsiCo, you still have to break it down in terms of what this means for Pepsi Max.
The relatability
vis-a-vis
of the data per industry
vis-a-vis the same target audience who you want to get to data on MTN. And that's what the Rigo work. So we were doing a lot of the onboarding and trying to look at different scenarios that those things could play out. But more importantly was, even if we did that decoding of data, there was a very unique aspect I felt was still very much missing, which we added sort of like a camouflage. If you look at the roots, generally it will be consumer. Because that's the best way to start off with. You understand the category. You understand the communications based on that category, how you want to connect them, then possibly collaboration if there was anything, and then commercial angle, because you have to look at the 5 straddles. A very important component was, which I felt, was culture. Yes, wow. Because how that played out from how you did something in Kenya or Ghana would be different from how you do it in Nigeria, even if it was the same theme, same product, same target audience. Culture was usually used, like I said, like a camouflage. It's slapped on either as a label or through an influencer or through language. And I thought it was very superficial. I felt it was something that had to be at the beginning. If I had colored everything you do, from the language design to the way you created your campaign to even from the product development and messaging, rather than it being used as an asset in channel at the end. And sometimes the consumer doesn't have marketing speak, but they somehow quickly gauge you that this thing is not authentic to me, which is why you have to do a campaign again and again and again. And my point was, how can we, if possible, decode or automate culture? And that put me in the path of understanding trends. And thankfully, I not only traveled very well, I studied, I went to various places. I became like a trend expert in Africa, trying to uncover, and I've written dozens of reports in that space across different categories, trying to understand it. While I understood the trends stuff, I also now moved up to, trends, as I've seen, is very mature in markets like South Africa and Kenya. In Nigeria, you do have to do a lot to sell it. Even though senior marketers, CEOs understand it, the question will be, how can I bring it to life? It sounds good, all of these things.
Commercialize
wellness, but how do I commercialize it?
Yeah.
And that was another challenge, and it was true. How
Yeah.
do you commercialize trends?
Yeah.
Which is why I said, let me take time out to actually study this space. And which is why I launched Masquerade, my startup. I said, okay, I've done strategy for almost 15 years. Let me take one aspect of it and create an ecosystem around it and build it. So that means demystifying what pop culture is about. Everything from how we talk, who you talk with, your makeup rituals, and how you eat, when you do it, your dance culture, your symbols and signals, even the way you lift your eyebrow, the sound that makes when you uncork a bottle, all of those little things we take from granted. How many times you touch your hair? And I think all those are accents about the human life. Why cannot we onboard them rather than looking for something unique when you do a campaign? Those things are around you every day. You just don't look at them that way because you take them for granted. So it's not like we're looking for cultural accents. They are around you. It's just that we try to bring them in a very strategic and minute level that makes sense. So that's the space I'm currently playing in. I want to make culture as a service, something that straddles everything a brand or marketer that is future facing wants to connect. And it doesn't take away from anything they're doing, but this grounds them in the unique space they're doing. For example, if we're talking about a beauty and wellness brand, then what exactly are the components of skincare that goes beyond, talking about skin deep or how you apply makeup to your face? What does it mean from a contextual level? If you're talking about a dairy brand and you're talking to moms, for example, who is probably also a hustler, who is probably also preparing food for their kids, taking them to school, what are the different day in the life between 5 to 7, 8 a.m. She can take over. I've done all of these rituals. I've taken my kids to school. I've prepared food. I've prepared my way to go home. How don't we onboard those things itself as the ecosystem rather than it being a flag on than the distance? So that's where I'm currently playing. And thankfully, I've talked to brands who are open to this space because to me, it's about learning. It's a learning experience for me as well. It's not a one size fits all for every brand, for every market. It's unique. And that's what I'm just trying to build right away. Yeah.
Absolutely, Franklin. You said quite a lot, to be honest with you. A few things that stuck out for me basically was saying data used to be the end point. Now data is just the beginning.
It's just the beginning.
It's not okay just to have data. It's what you do with it after that can create a differentiation for you.
Cultural context,
culture, yes. And that's where I come to culture, because culture is not a channel game. Culture should be the bedrock that will build the brand or will build the campaign from the beginning. And that's what you're saying. A few other things stuck out for me, but there I would like to add some questions for you. When we go to influencer marketing, which is very common today, I call it lazy marketing, to be honest with you. That's my personal way of saying it. I hope I don't offend anyone. How is that compared to this new campaign or this new way of doing things that you are talking about, building on the pop culture versus influential marketing?
I've actually written quite a lot about it. I call it to me, for influencer marketing, I call it the celebrity. That is SELL, the celebrity. I've written several articles about it. I've also been in that space. I've recommended influencers, but from a point of, to me, influencer marketing has worked. Can't take that away from it. But I feel it's superficial because to me it's like part 1 of 10. Some places work, some places don't work. But let me even talk about what I want to talk about is, even if you want to do influencer marketing, it doesn't just it doesn't end with an influencer holding the product or usage of the product or
taking the picture,
taking his music tune and put it. To me, that's very which is why you said lazy marketing.
I call it lazy.
It's the
you call it superficial.
Anybody brand can do that.
Bravo.
The thing is, what next? So to me, influencer marketing is an event, but to me, it should be an experience. It should not be one-off. It should start again from the beginning, not just co-creating and curating culture, but in terms of how do you create a system, a service, a product, a ritual, a platform, and value framework across it. That's what a lot of brands don't want to do.
Yeah.
To me, that's the work.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you stand out.
Yeah.
But a lot of brands don't want to do that. And like I said, I've had these conversations with many people. It's very easy to give 10, 20, 50 million naira to one influencer. I said, give me 5 million naira. Let me tell you what I can do for 12 months. Month on month, including content that is so customized to you that nobody can even replicate it based on those cultural fluency.
Yeah.
You still have your influencer if you want it, but it doesn't end with an event.
Yes.
It's an experience that is attuned. A good example actually is, for example, is the component of dance.
Yeah.
We have a unique way of dancing in Africa.
Of course.
In Nigeria, people create dance fandoms or memes just because. You could go to a nightclub today, you could get a little happy, and you could start doing something that someone takes a photograph and they say that's the coolest thing.
And
it just comes natural.
Yeah, it comes natural.
It just comes natural. Like you start doing like this, you start doing like this, and they're like, that means I'm wiping my face, I'm wiping you, and whatever it means, and that's so cool.
Yeah.
So how can I take that and weave it into beer as a symbolism? Not just calling someone who has 10 million for us to do it and you don't see him for the next 2 years, but actually weave that into the pantos and ethos of that brand in terms of the branding, the system, the language, how it talks. So the thing is, brands want to be trendy.
Yes.
And trendiness comes from a component of when it's at its highest peak, when everybody recognizes. So that's virality, which is good. Yeah. But virality is like this, it comes and goes. Yeah. What brand should be looking for is velocity. Once it goes up, how do you continually grow from a marketing standpoint? So that is, you are the one who actually originates the trend. Don't rush for virality. Even if you have communities and buckets of 10,000, it's much more powerful and authentic because it actually resonates with you. And you are investing in that cultural fluency. Yeah. So it's going to continue on a path. You're going to create a product, then you're going to create a platform, then you're going to create an ecosystem, then you can do a campaign around it. Then from those insights and data points, you can do something for the consumer, and then you can do an event that everybody comes to, and then it loops. It becomes a loop. It's not become a campaign and campaign. And like I said, it's not something we don't know. Yeah. It's just put in a structured framework and actually invest in it. So what we don't do is we don't invest in those 4 to 5 phases. We invest in part one, which is what is the first. And like I said, which is what you call it. And I think a lot of brands are leaving, if it is profit they're looking for, they're leaving a lot on the table.
Yes.
A lot on the table. Yes. When we're talking about our customers are not loyal, that's an issue. That's why customers are not loyal. Yeah. Because you're finicky. You're jumping onto too many things.
Permit me to say something, because I like the way you present it and the concept. And one good thing is our minds are mostly in the same place.
Okay.
And I'm not scared to disagree, first of all, but on this subject, our minds are in the same place. You talk about velocity ahead of virality. And for me, virality is taking the needle for like a drug addict.
Like a quick pain, quick fix. Quick fix.
I take the shot now.
You're going to get it
tomorrow to get the shot.
100 impressions.
But if I don't get the shot, then I fall.
Then you want to put it again. You want to do it again.
And what you are preaching is basically create the velocity. Create the engine that can drive sustainable growth.
You got the word, culture engine. Do the investment.
Yes.
Do it once, but do it very well.
Yes.
And you can reap and optimize it for 5 to 10 years.
Yes.
So you don't have to jump in. So you now own your trend.
Yes.
You own your virality, if there's anything like that. Yes. You own your products.
Yes.
You own a community. You own tribes.
Yes.
Then you own communication and content that is so unique to your space. Nobody can try to come near you. Rather than just taking the downtrodden space of bringing someone on board who says something, doesn't feel it, then goes to use another product the next day. And consumers are the smartest people today. They know this. They see those people. Social media has made everything so very open, so you can't hide it. So it's very worry. And now we're saying from influencers, let's go to micro creators. It's not about big or small. It's about being real.
Not size.
It's about being real. You can go to the mom or the woman who is doing Amala Shoke.
Yes.
She might have 15 people.
Yes.
I'd rather connect with her because that's what she does. Yes. And look at all the people that do Amala in Lagos and Ibadan and use them. Yes. And I won't tell them to do anything. Just do your natural thing. Let me just record you and let me just share your stories, because once you put them, they start performing. We don't want performance or performative marketing.
Yes.
Do you.
Be
you, and I will use those content and I'll slice them and let it be rich. That is one of the most. Why it's what we do. Why can't we just do that?
Yes.
If at the basic level.
Yes.
So I get the point of I want to connect to 100,000 people. Yeah. I get up. I mean, I've been in that space on times. I work with huge budgets and small budget, but create the engine and then you can muster for small, for large, for medium, for regional. One of the what big issues we have again, the search on brands I've worked on is how do I connect with the Lagos Western woman versus the Northern or Southern woman. A very big problem for some for some
companies,
FMCG brands, especially in seasoning.
Of course.
And that's where some of these things come into play. Yeah. And usually the easy quick fix is let me do 10 slices of digital content, maybe TV series, which helps because that's a different way of bringing different slices to life. Yeah. But again, they are just messaging. They are not founded on any grounded framework. Yeah. And once you do that, those things always fall down.
Yeah. That's the problem. Absolutely. I mean, what I'm hearing from Franklin today, for me, it's I'm not surprised. I got a trailer in the earlier in the week we met, but now I'm getting more into the realization of it, and this becomes very interesting for me. But then I will come to where I have the challenge in the practicality of it. So my question now is going to be how easy it is for the big companies to buy into this long-range attempt to create a new culture versus taking the injection every day, as we describe it, the virality.
The quick fix.
How easy is it to change the mind of established organization to relook the way they are creating their campaigns and connecting with the consumer?
I can tell you for free, it's not easy. I've done love those conversations. It's not easy. It will take time, because for something that you want to, if you're talking about a growth engine or a growth machine, and you want to create sustainable, you have to invest in it. If you want the short-term campaigns, beautiful, work with agencies. I can work with them and agencies, but I'll be in the background building the culture engine for you. Minimum 3 months to 6 months, you have something powerful that will last you 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
So it's not something you're going to run. You have to do the research. You have to start with the basic research. You have to understand the consumer moods and emotions and identity. Identity is in a flux. An 18-year-old says, I'm a man. Today, 22 years, in just 3 years, he now says, please identify as she, him, and they because of trends.
Realities.
Who are you talking to? Because that guy is not even sure of him or herself.
Identity anymore.
Yes. So I have to unbundle what is identity. We're talking about fluid identities.
Yes.
If I'm with you, I'm characterized in a certain way.
True.
With my parents, I'm characterized a certain way.
True.
I go out at night with my loved ones, I'm characterized a certain way. Which characterization as a brand do you want to talk to? That is the challenge.
It's not just one Franklin.
It's not one Franklin.
Anymore.
And you can't say it's the Franklin in the evening because I'm an alcoholic brand, so that's when I see him drinking. No. His real 80% component for him to see zero value could be even in the morning. So I have to create routines and do language design and cultural. It's not going to be easy. So for those components, it means a minimum. I would create at least a minimum 3 different components. And a framework I developed is what I call culture as a service, like I said.
Yes.
So one would be the power of belonging. Belonging or belief. What do we believe in? A 16-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 55-year-old, all of them can be in a WhatsApp group. They believe in something. Football.
Yes.
Tennis.
Yes.
Cycling.
Yes.
So the idea of I have to talk to you because you can afford this 50,000 naira thing because you're a manager has gone off the box.
Immediately.
On
Size
Telegram,
of the pocket doesn't count.
I have this product for these passion people. That 15-year-old, that 25-year-old, all of them want to buy it because that is the mask they are wearing for them to fit into that religion, that belief, because they believe in cycling. I must have my school, but that's 300,000 naira. Your idea should not be what they have in the bank account, which is easy to say. It can be easy to say, why do we have 2-3 phones? A million naira if you want to calculate an average 2 nice-end smartphones. But if you look at me, I'm probably earning 200,000. So those can't make those nomenclatures or bracket type
easy categorization
anymore.
Yes.
You are carrying a 500,000 naira phone. Your driver, who you're paying 200,000 naira, is carrying a 500,000 naira phone. Are you going to start asking where did he get? He's carrying a 500,000 phone. You're doing WhatsApp. He's doing WhatsApp.
He prioritizes what he spends.
He's probably living in a 50K a month. But he has a 500,000 naira phone
because he prioritizes that.
The same thing you're getting on CNN is getting it.
Yes.
The same information as you're being updated, he's updated. He wants to aspire, but he doesn't want to be saying optimism. He wants to aspire immediately like you. He's not saying I must do 2-3 years. He wants to be you that is driving every day. He wants to dress like you. He wants to wear this shoe.
True.
Wherever shortcut he sees, he's going to get it. That's the power of belief, especially in Africa. So a strong component is the power of belief. So if I'm working on an FSVG brand, I first of all demystify What is the power of belief across our different tiers of customers?
Yeah.
Another one is the power of sense and sensitivity.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that sometimes you could be pickled, get angry, or happy about something that is not even the obvious. What is it to call us a happy nation? What is happiness? Is happiness promotion? Is happiness I have a contentful meal in my stomach? Is happiness seeing a loved one? It can be categorized in 1,000 ways.
Obviously.
But from a point of view of a malt brand, what is happiness? I have to break that down. So again, so those are the packets. What is the power of community and tribes? So like I have several of those. And so depending on the category or context of the brand and their challenge, then I use these frameworks to help me. They have frameworks, strategic frameworks that I use to onboard it. When I do that, the point I go to cultural fluency is like maybe the third or fourth level. When I've done that, then I create a culture code that is so uniquely you, which is why I can't use the same thing for two brands, even if they're in the same category, the same space.
Yes.
Which is the difference between what the brand will do. They'll probably use the same influencer, the same channel.
Yes.
I would give something that is so unique. It's a playbook only you can do and adopt. That is the challenge. But the thing is, the time and investment and the belief.
Bravo. I'm not surprised with what you are sharing. But the next question for me is, if you talk about investment of 3 to 5 months in creating an engine that can run for the next 5 years, the mathematics looks very simple for me. Why are the big organizations not willing to invest 3 to 5 months to gain 5 years of driving continuous growth?
Awesome. I call it the business of culture, and I did a keynote on that in February, I think, at one of the cafes. I talked about the business of culture. If you talk to CEOs or business drivers, I don't think they will argue with you about the power of culture. Everybody's talking about the superficial, so music, fashion, e-commerce. I mean, that's just what the basics and stuff. The thing is, on my part and those that believe in it, I have to first of all get into those boardrooms.
Of course.
Which is why I do a lot of speaking engagement, because you can't be talking from your desk or from your office. People have to write. So people want to know what's next and what's new. Two, we have gatekeepers in the market and brand space. It's their duty to scout for innovation spaces that they might not fully know about, that they might fully not understand the components, but they have to be open as a gatekeeper to understand the nuances, that change is not what they understand, but it happens. So if you see something that is happening, let's say, Franklin, come, let's have a chat. Let's discuss it. You can't say, no, are you doing outdoor? I'm not doing outdoor, so I'm not talking to you, or I can't bring you on board as a supplier. That's the challenge. It has to be a setting. If you send a proposal, it has to be defeated in a flow and format. If you do that, you lose the creativity and innovation that comes behind. And I can't work with people that first of all want to put me in a box that I ran away from. I've been in the agency world for about 15 years. You're not going to come and tell me to act. When you start telling me to do an RFP to pitch, I'm already gone, because that's where I ran from. I want to be in a space where I can talk to you for 5 to 10 minutes and let you know the power of what you have. And then I can do a case study or a model. But I'm not going to go pitch and go to markets and whatever it is we do, which I've done for successful forever brands. When I've found that there's a huge gap, and I'm trying to bring that gap to be at the beginning, and then you want to fit me into a flow that goes to the same way. Look, I can do 2-3 unique campaigns with unique propositions that will probably blow your market if you give me the right budget in 2 days for you. I've done it severally for big brands, from PepsiCo to Nigerian breweries brands to Visa and so on and so forth. To me, that's the easy part. Yeah. The hard part is to create an ecosystem and framework around it, not just campaigns, but product ecosystems. And we have to understand that we don't know everything. So if I've taken this space as my cultural masterpiece, then that means there's something, a point of view I want to share. Yeah. And it doesn't mean we don't have slices of these things in campaigns or in research agencies or in agencies. They are there, but it's just a part I have taken as a full value ecosystem. So what I'm bringing on board is definitely much more richer compared to someone who has a 2 or 3 slices or as like I said, like an add-on or a badge of honor and stuff like that. So one of the key things is for CEOs to open their minds and gatekeepers open their minds that if they actually want to innovate, then it's not about agency versus culture of agency. It's about understanding that space and bringing people in that can help them build. And building doesn't mean I understand everything, because I have to understand your point of view and your vision. So it is an iteration in progress, which is why it takes time. Yeah. Once it does, we can now have real-time components where real-time you can be talking to your consumer just like AI, speaking to their language, connecting and building. All of those things are possibilities in terms of what those components can be. The component or end work of what I do could be a campaign. It could be a product. It could be a book. It could be a podcast. It could be YouTube series. I'm not going to say what it is, but let us first understudy your consumer, first of all, as human beings with daily rituals that don't even understand themselves because they're continually evolving, which is why focus group studies can't tell you what the next innovation will be. We'll tell you what is, but not what will be.
Yeah, they are backward looking.
Yes, so cultural foresight is about creating scenarios in terms of, I don't know what could happen in the next 2 years or 5 years, but that's where the excitement is.
Yes.
So now let's walk forward 3-4 years and create a calendar map and walk backwards. What are the things we need to do every month to walk towards those 3 years? And it must be the 3 years that scare you, that's ambitious, that's audacious. It shouldn't be safe. It shouldn't be come and do a quarterly report to me about what you mean. No, you have to be ambitious to say, let me see what it is. Because when you triangulate that innovation, people will come to tell you what you want to hear. Of course. Which is why culture cannot be put in a box.
Yeah. Absolutely interesting, Franklin. Absolutely interesting. So you said we are stuck in our old ways.
We are.
It's not easy to change the mind in the boardroom.
Even though we talk about innovation, we come from the standpoint of still the conservative ways of doing it.
Yeah. So we need a tectonic change in the industry. We need a complete change. Let's say, as somebody described once, we need a heart surgery.
Okay, put it that
we
way.
need a heart surgery because we need a new lens. We need to look into the future.
Yes,
because exactly what you say, we are doing focus groups, we are distributing questionnaires, we are looking at the back to design the future.
Yes, it works. I'm not throwing the baby out with the bath. How do you pronounce that? Yeah, I'm not throwing the baby the bathwater with the baby.
With the baby, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's not for everybody. Innovation is not for everybody. That's what we need to understand. You don't have to play much. This is what I believe in. I like this. I love my social media. Digital. Fine. So please don't say we're knocking it off. And what you work for, I'm saying for those that have a future mindset, these are for the new breed of people that they don't want to be triangulated into category conventions. Because I'm a confectionery brand, I have to play like other QSRs or convention. No, they don't want to be that. These are brands that said, I'm making $1 million every month for my brand, but I think I can do $100 million. What could it be? I love what Apple is doing. I love what Perplexity is doing. Could I be the new Sora.ai? Then talk to Franklin, talk to Masquerade. Then that's where we come in. So it's not about incremental leaps. No. It's about transformation.
Quantum leaps.
Yeah, I'm talking to 100,000 scholars, but could I talk to 1 billion people? Let's talk strategy. That's why I come in. That's why cultural fluency comes in. So it's for those that want to do those audacious goals, and then we need to put the input into work. I love the way you said it. We can't design for the future using current or lenses.
Or looking
backwards.
It's wrong.
We don't know what the future will be. I don't know what's going to happen in December. We're talking about 30 December, so huge ritual, right?
Yes.
Brands are planning for it right now because they're like, even governments, state governments want to do their own dirty December. Like Lagos can't be having all the fun. So imagine people that are planning for the next 6 months. But the crazy thing is, you're planning based on what happened in 2024. Again, you're looking back.
It's not working.
Can you take it to the next level and create yours based on what you've seen? What could it be like in 2030?
Bravo.
Can we break 2030 to end of year December? Bravo. What are the companies going to do? Take it to what people would not even expect.
Bravo.
That is how to create cultural fluency. And like I said, those things are not things that you're looking or searching for. We do it every day. We sit in the traffic stops. We talk how we communicate, how we share. But the thing is systemizing them, investing in them, and creating frameworks around them.
Listen, many things are popping up in my mind in terms of questions that I need to now struggle with myself to say, what is the next best question I can ask you? And I will come to one big question at the end, which is going to relate to empathy.
Love that.
Empathy, but I'll come to it at the end. For now, I'm interested in how do you gather the data that you use? And you spoke about real-time data gathering and analysis when you were speaking earlier on.
Yes.
And I believe that's the only way you can work, especially when you're looking future back. You create a future, next 5-10 years.
Beautiful.
And then you see what I need to do now.
The moonshot plan.
To get from 1 billion to 100 billion, not to get to 1.2 billion, not to get to 1.5 billion.
Correct.
So how does it work with your new lens when it comes to data gathering and analytics, and how do you use AI to work?
Oh, thank you for that. It works in different ways. Like I said, it's not a one-size-fits-all. So I don't use one methodology for unique brands. Right now, I'm collaborating with a skincare brand that's been around for like 10 years.
Okay.
But now they are going into other markets like North America, Europe, and other parts of Africa. But it's a brand founded in Nigeria.
Wow.
And one of the key challenges is how can we talk real time to our people? Of course, mostly women, and of a certain age and of a certain type.
Yeah.
And part of what we're doing, we started, of course, with the traditional stuff, which would be, who are these people you're talking to? Let's even understand them. And so we got they've even done the research. They've done reports with the big boys. They've gotten 100 and something pages and grounded. But the CEO had probably never even unpacked that thing for a few years.
Yeah.
Desktop.
Yeah.
It was full data, but the meaning, what's the meaning of that? So we had to unlock those meaning across points. Now, from cultural fluency would now be, we now grouped the target audience into different tribes because we found that they were not a one size fits all. They fall into different categories. Like I mentioned, one was the people that love their body and skincare and stuff, but part of those people were also the traditional hustlers. Usually categorize hustlers as men. They were women that are hustlers.
Oh.
We had those that had kids, single moms. They had to take care of the home. They had to take care of kid. They had to take care of themselves.
Alone.
That was 3 in common. There was that bucket as well. We looked at the traditional futurists, those that love the whole idea of the spiritual angle that they found. What you're getting is from the roots, so it has a spiritual essence. It's from water and co. But if you put it on skin, they have this beauty and contemporary looks. It's traditional but current futuristic. Those were unique pockets. We call them the CCA codes. And then we had different pockets. We now started seeing the commonalities that cut across them, and that's how. So we templated research unique to each of them, not one size fits all. That was one thing. The other thing, we put them into groups, so WhatsApp and Telegram, and started doing product testing with them, and they were giving us real-time statistics as they were using them, which we were sharing and were dating into our dashboard. And so we're using those statistics, and with AI we can create agents now. We can create unique agents in terms of putting unique prompts. So with that, we're also onboarding that as well, working with an AI how would I call them? Let me just say consultancy, because we are learning ourselves how to use those things. So they've created like an agent for that space, specific to our space, where we can you can not only ask specific questions that you have an issue with on your skin, but based on that, you can immediately get results and you can download your reports immediately. It will draw from everywhere on the web, and it can give you 2-page reports customized just for you. So for 10 unique testers, every day they can download minimum of 10 to 20 reports just for them with visuals. As
a consumer.
Yes, as a visual. And that's just the beginning. We can take this to TVs. We can do it to series. So power of AI is there. But we're also using human intelligence, so it doesn't become commoditized. Which is why the question today is, can we automate culture? It's a big question. Can AI automate culture? Before, the answer was no, you need human intelligence. But every day you talk to it, you share with it, becomes smarter, better. Remember, it's not only you, it's millions of people across the world. So it draws from everyone's experience, and then it creates something that becomes what you soak, that becomes best suited for you. So it's beginning to learn more and more of our frequencies. It's more attuned with our emotions. It's understanding who we are, our fears. People regard AI as girlfriends and boyfriends. People share, AI, I'm having this issue, and they start telling you what to do and stuff. The more you start giving of your spirit and of yourself, don't you think it becomes smarter, even if it's a machine? Of course. I'm not going to get to that because that's a big argument.
That's a big conversation. And I'll tell you something I did over the weekend. I asked AI if it wants to be human.
It must be.
I will tell you the answer after the show.
Crazy. The question is, does AI have soul? Of course we need to, because not a spirit. But in terms of language, it's getting better and better. In terms of capability, so we are leveraging traditional. We do it. We're leveraging social media. We're leveraging AI, but AI much more. But we're leveraging them by creating unique tribes and communities, and bringing unique questions and stuff that are guiding us. So we've moved from questions now to creating future standpoints where they are the ones that sort of investigate themselves. We are just watching from the back. We don't do Q&As. We let the people live their lives, and then we observe their behavior.
That is the authenticity. Be yourself and let me watch.
And we are just responding. And then we're taking the nuances between the traditional futurists those that love skincare, those that are the happy mom, and then we'll see the commonalities. And then I told you I use commonalities. So we're looking at the sense of belonging.
Yeah.
We're looking at the power of belief. We're looking at the power of sense and sensitivity. We're looking
Yeah.
at so we're looking at all those and we're drawing them and we're creating a lot of trend spots.
Absolutely.
And then those trend spots become unique to us, and then we can now develop a report or something that we share to the owners of the skincare brand.
Yeah.
These are the things we should now do, and this is the language. Now, if you want us, we can now start creating your culture engine for you.
Bravo. Listen, I love what I'm hearing, but beyond love, I believe in it. And absolutely, I believe in it. But, I shared at the beginning also that I have a few concerns.
Yes.
And one of the concerns is the practicability, but also the scalability.
Yes.
When you talk about the scalability of this solution, having this robust knowledge of consumers and consumer tribes, let's go a little bit to the implementation. Are you thinking of one implementation that addresses all of these problems? Or you are thinking of different solutions that address each of these consumer and consumer tribes?
The truth is different solutions, because the truth we found out is you can't even give everybody the same thing. I didn't say it's simple work. That's the hard work, which a lot of people run away from. But that's where you. So the thing is, once you've done that work in terms of building, let's say for a big FMCG brand that's in 4 or 5 markets.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk to consumers from a demographic and simply psychographic level.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to them from a sense of community, from a sense of sensitivity of community.
Yes.
Once we do that, we have at the minimum I don't think we'll do more than 5 straddle points.
Yeah.
It is those ones we'll now create campaigns and product drops for and
Specifics.
stuff. And then we can scale. So I can scale for the people that are very sensitized or have a particular ability. Then I can now create maybe a 5 model. For them, I will do WhatsApp, Telegram. I will do maybe a TV series. I will do an event. I will do a limited bottle edition, luxury edition, and I'll probably do an event for that 5. For this, there will be 2 components here that also fall in here, but 3 unique ones.
Yeah.
So they straddle like that.
Yeah.
So that's where the scalability comes in.
Yeah.
So at worst, minimum of 3 components of that cultural fluency will cut across everything.
Okay.
But it's still customized for them.
So basically,
Some of them might not even have any campaign targeted at them because they are just connected with product design and branding. While this is, and that's just 2 components. And while this one is, I want to understand it from a real time. I want someone I can chat with, and I also want something I can look or feel. While these other guys, I just want something that just rub on me, and that's simple. So it's not the same level across the investment nurture is not level. So you can scale differently. But what the brand is now really when you say the word authentic, that is the real authenticity. That in fact I don't have to give everybody the same thing across. This guy just wants a product. I want function. I respect that. This guy wants function, emotional, but they also want a bit of share. Please, am I doing it right? I'm not very sure. This one wants something that gives them memorability and all of the things you've mentioned. Look at it like a subscription model.
Yeah.
The basic and then the advanced level.
Yeah.
That's everybody will. When you start doing that, you now find that people they naturally gravitate towards the one they want.
Yeah.
But you could have been trying to give the medium pack to this guy, but actually he wants the gold pack.
Yeah.
So, which is why today, let the people be themselves and let the brand stand back and let those people who create the content and campaigns from them rather than always talking to them, talk with them.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo. And this is the difference between equity and equality.
Correct.
It's not one size fits all. It's not Franklin and Sam use the same skincare, they will see the same ad.
Exactly.
There's something that connects with Franklin, and there's something else that Sam is looking for. And we both will see different advert for the same product that connects us to the brand, and then we go to make the purchase.
Awesome.
This is what you're saying.
Yes. But the interesting thing about that, because there's only so much you can even say. We're talking about the experience. The experience is not the end.
No.
To me, the experience straddles through. It's not an event.
The experience is a feedback. It's an input.
It's an input. It's a loop.
And that's why you are forward looking.
Yeah. So exactly. So so just for an example, so the guy is seeing an ad and is going to buy a product. For some brands, buying the product is the end.
Yes.
To me, the movement to buy the product, the process to me is the experience.
Wow.
How we even get to there.
Wow.
Not the podcast he saw
Wow.
and not the product he bought.
Wow.
It was the journey. To me, that's the cultural fluency. What did he do? How did he get there? I can onboard that. So as I'm understanding it, I'm onboarding that into the next time. So tomorrow, I'm more updated with his movement. So every day he's seeing himself, his natural gravity to it, but he doesn't know because we're just understanding. We're just using his language and tapping them while understanding his signals.
And feeding back into the loop.
The third
and
day,
recreating every
the third
day.
day he becomes better.
Wow.
So now the language has updated, the podcast has updated,
Wow.
the journey is updated, everything becomes. He just becomes. We've created a twin of him,
Yeah.
and he doesn't understand what's going on. He just sees himself loving and liking it.
Wow.
That's not loyal. That's beyond it because he's not trying to justify why he bought something. He just has to get it. He just has to have it because that's intricately him from an emotional,
Yes.
spiritual, and
Yes.
functional point of view.
Yes.
So to us, where we are building is, it's not here all the way to there, which is the traditional marketing stuff. There's no A to B.
No.
There's no A to B. There's no.
Those
there's
are just
no
2
arrow.
points.
There's no arrow
No,
points.
no.
Yeah, it's secular.
It's
It's
secular.
a secular loop
Yeah.
that is not closed. It's like
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
and then you can turn the other way sideways.
Yeah.
And we can say it's going to be like that for 2 months or 3 months. So we're not doing campaigns.
Yeah.
Everything is a project.
Yeah.
As we're looping and we're learning, we're putting these insights and by real time. So don't want to wait to come and give you a 3-month report. So let's understand. No, as we're doing, we're giving you real time updates,
Real-time
and you
updates.
are part of the dashboard, and you're seeing what is going on.
Wow.
And we are all taking those insights and we're onboarding them real time and updating those trends and insights. That's the way to go because that's it right now.
Wow.
And it's not going to be the next 12 months because it's going to be updated again.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to be in 12
It's going
months.
to be
So it's
relevant.
always updated, and that's the best way for a brand to be. So the brand is in motion, culture in motion. From campaigns to culture in motion, product design is updated, branding is updated, culture and communication is updated. If you want to do campaign, is updated. But more importantly, your connection with the consumer is updated. It is real. It is human.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo. Really, really intriguing. I cannot say less than that. And I'll go back to my question on empathy. Because the story, what you are telling today, is very strong. It's difficult to fight against. It is basically almost bulletproof.
Sure thing.
But also, we are struggling to connect to the heart and mind of decision makers because they have sunk costs. They have a way of doing it for the past 20 years, for the past 50 years. And why they agree with what you're saying, they are not patient, or they're not willing to invest in creating a new engine, and they go for let's say the superficial one, which is the influential marketing. What needs to change in your story? Now, this is a big challenge for you.
It is. I found out everything.
What needs to change in your story to connect better to the heart and the mind of decision makers and to get them to start to invest in this way of looking at the consumer?
That's a very interesting one because that
Yes.
goes to the point of business development, design, and everything.
Actually, yes.
It is. I think I need to do better at telling my own story.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I discovered. I need to do better at telling my own story, but more importantly, getting the story out to the people, to the businesses, to the individuals, to the gatekeepers, to the innovators, to those who are looking for something next but they don't even know what it is, to those who are looking for future scapes. I need to get the story out to them. I don't tell you for try. I don't have all these. I don't have all those
the
answers.
Yeah.
But I try to do it better every day.
Yeah.
Through channels like this.
Yeah.
I'm also writing a book.
Yeah.
Which is also going to be in both in Africa and other markets.
Okay.
But more importantly, I try to also share points of view on spaces where I believe those people are thought leaders, like LinkedIn and X, and share those things. But if you compound all of them, to me, it's still very limited.
Mm-hmm.
This thing. I think the best way to do this as well is for these people I'm trying to connect with, and if they're listening in, is don't only be subject to what people share with you, whether they're your directors or your consumers. You have to also put an ear out because sometimes innovation or new things happen because you've also listened to something.
Yeah.
If you see something that makes you uncomfortable, try to question it. Don't run away from it.
Yeah.
Try to understand why.
Why
because
it is
in that
different.
discomfort, in that tension, could be the answer you're looking for.
Bravo.
We have people and businesses that have done well. They've created engines for traditional media, for social, digital media. I'm trying to do the one for culture.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard. So it's those that I work with that would probably do a lot of sacrifice to build with.
Yeah.
So that's where the distance is. But I'm ready to work with those few people to build it to a point where it becomes it scales across. So that's where I'm at. But I'm loving it because, like I said, to me it's not an end goal.
No.
To me, the journey is the experience.
Bravo.
The things I'm
You're
getting.
like your
I'm
consumer.
loving, because
you take joy in the journey.
every day from different CEOs, I hear different things. The thing you think will be their problem, they'll tell you, no, that's not the problem. It's not the money. It's not the consumers of this thing. Someone just wants to be different. They want to stand out from a category. Yeah. And you're like, we can't do that. Let's do something different. Yeah. But you have to invest in it. You have to invest the time to it. I mean, to me, I always look at it from, if you want real marketing innovation, just take 1% of whatever your business revenue is in a year, and add it for innovation. Invest in innovation. Invest it in what we do. Just 1%. And we give you, within 2 to 5 years, you triple that investment. And that's just the beginning, because you now also own the IP and the ecosystem that comes with it, which is not, if the value is much more than the investment you make. So if I'm a very smart businessman or woman who understand that point of view, the finance department might not understand it because they're looking for immediate ready. Marketing team might not understand. Marketing might even get it, but because they have to do their quarterly reports, their business report, they're not having that affability to really go out for innovation as a sale. But the thing is to make the case that innovation is not something you bottle in the box. I mean, we always talk about the Teslas and the Apples, and you also seen how they've done it. So it's not like, they were giving ambits and they had visions to run on. So the question I'll throw back for the business was, what is your vision and how much are you willing to invest in it? And then we can talk.
Bravo. And as you speak, new thoughts and questions were coming to me, to be honest with you. And then I start to ask myself, is there another challenge for you? So
I love the challenge, but that's
are you talking to the wrong people then? Because you are talking to decision makers. You are not talking to the people in charge of making the creatives. Because decision makers, they seem to be under pressure for time to drive quarterly report, quarterly performances. They love to hear about the future, but they are always hands-on and thinking only about today. Could you then think of a situation where you are talking more to the creatives because the decision makers are talking to them when they run into problems? And if you get the more creative minds or more creative agencies
that they listen
on
to
your side, then they can sell the story to them because they already have their heart and ears today. They can sell the story better to them, or they have more believability with the creative agencies.
You're very correct. So it's not a either them or. I've worked with agencies. I also work with agencies. I partner with agencies because some clients have a model or a process where whichever way you're coming, you're seen as a consultant. And as a consultant, you're in the agency model. You're on the agency side. Whether you regard yourself as you're on the agency because you're servicing them, your supplier. So a lot of, especially big multinationals, do that.
True.
The local startups or the small brands, you can work directly with the S. So I also collaborate with agencies. Sometimes we meet the clients and they tell you to go to the agency and we work with them to do this. So yes, we do work with the clients. But directly, do I go to agencies? I've done that before. It didn't work. Where I went directly to agencies because they regard they could offer the same thing. We're creative agencies, so we could also do that. I work with agencies too. I worked in an agency, so I understand where that is coming from. This thing, Franklin, I can do it too, and I can do it. But the thing is, they could probably do it 5%. That is my business. It is not part of my business, which is part of yours. And if we want to unbundle it, you can never unbundle it the way I could because that's what I do every single day for years. The frameworks I develop, the things I champion, how I break them down, I invested in them. It cannot be something you do as a slice on the pie, you want to tick a box. No, because you still have your core. So it's not like you might not be able to do it, but it can be something that you can't be sustainable.
Because you are not the creatives.
You can't be creative.
You are not the creatives should feed on you. Yes. You are the engine that runs the whole growth
end to end.
And the creative is just one leg.
Yes, I'm telling you.
All of this.
Exactly. Because I even come from a point of ideation. Usually agencies come from a point of execution. Creative and execution. So I have this idea, I have a brand, make it good, look good, create a positioning for it. How does it talk? How does it work? I come up with a point that you just still, it's a vision, it's your imagination. And I can take it from there all the way and pass the baton to the agency. And which is where the agency work ends. I continue the loop and go back again and narrate the vision and create from there, from products, platforms, and I say, okay, so we can work very well together. So I'm not cutting them off. I'm talking with them, but majority or a huge scale, I'm talking directly to And I'm not saying organizations. I'm talking to future inspired individuals, a new breed of people, innovators, and visionaries. If they fall within decision makers, people that drive companies, they could be marketers, they could be senior strategists, then fine, it falls within our framework. So again, I don't use the traditional nomenclature. I'm just talking to an owner of an organization. I'm talking to people who have an ambition to do something differently. That person could be a CMO, it could be manager level, but he wants to do something and he's ready to invest in it. I'm ready to work with that person. And I've done so even with startups. So that is what I want to do.
People with vision
and
hunger.
A new breed of thinking. They are open to what's next. They want to understand why it's happening now. And they're ready to do this. And they have to appreciate that they don't know what it could be. We don't have the answers. That the answer is not something that I did 2 years ago or it's going to happen in 2025. It's what I don't even know. But we're ready to move that journey together. That is, to me, again, that's where the interesting tension comes into play. And that's what we must now straddle together. The answers are not there. What I do for you is not the same thing I'm going to do for her, even if you're in the same category. So that's where the belief comes in.
Bravo. And I think you start to answer my next question with your last statement, because I was going to say that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Everybody says it until when it's time to change.
Beautiful.
Then everybody gets scared and says,
I said that. Yeah, exactly. Oops. We say it's something nice to say. Innovation is something nice to say. If you notice, but how many people actually, I won't say that, interpret and practice innovation? When it comes to the table, if you look at the popular way they say it is, look at what a company or even individual spends his money on a monthly, annual basis. That's what they believe in.
That's what they believe
what they
in.
say.
Yes, nobody's bravo.
So, I love training my people. We teach them to training, but every night I say that you do maybe events, you go for awards. That's what you believe in.
Yes.
So you can't say that's innovation, because at the end of the day, your market speaks for you. So that's the real test. For innovation to be at that level, it must be something, you must have an audacious goal. That goes beyond your functional day stuff. For example, you are a beverage brand that does maybe water and soft drinks. Your big audacious goal cannot be, you want to say 100,000 bottles of brands to customers. That's a component. That's a marketing component. Your big audacious goal, you want to quench tastes for 1 billion people. That's an audacious goal. It's not about soft drinks. It's not about water. It's I want to quench tastes for 1 billion people.
Creating an emotion with the consumer.
Please, I would love to work with that person. First of all, so we'll do a strategy on quenching taste. What does that mean? What is taste? Let's demystify what taste is. What is quench taste? That's a powerful proposition. So what I'm going to come with is not going to be a campaign. I don't even know what it's going to be. That's the truth. Then in year or two, when you're unbundling what those companies, those strategy assets, a lot of brands will be looking and envy you and try to copy your events, but they don't know it's a long-term strategy playbook. And that's where you begin. So those campaigns you want to do, you're still going to do them. Those consumers you're going to do them, but you're going to do them on a unique level that connects emotionally, empathy, profitability, sustainability, and everything you can think of, and much more. It gives you value, equity, and resonance. And resonance is one of the things you cannot pay for, even if you spend $100 million on a campaign. Resonance is connected with the heart and soul and spirit of people. Consumers. So we talk about reach, but can you get resonance? If I get 100 million people, I reach 100 million people, I have 100 million prints, 5 people clicked on my ad, how many, what percentage? Bots, and which one will come on their own? How many of them are your prophets that will preach for you when you're not there? To me, if you have 100 million people and you don't have 25 people that are your prophets, you've not really done anything to me.
Forget reach. Focus on resonance.
Resonance and imprints. Forget impressions. Focus on imprints.
You call them prophets.
What are the things that stick on your mind like a badge, that remain on your mind, that make me come to you after I've experienced you? I come the next day to buy you. That's the person. That's the consumer you've converted. Not because of the campaign they saw and they liked it, but the next day they told Bami. And we went to experience it, and then we told 6 more people.
They are now prophets. They are not
the
just
brand
rich.
Has resonated beyond it just being a soft drink or this thing. They believe in it. They love the cap. They hold it. It's become an accessory. Become a badge of honor. That's when you've straddled it from consumer to just that person being a human being that believes in you. That's the power of belief.
Yeah.
And that's just one component of the
Yeah.
cultural fluency.
Yeah.
Get to brands to believe in your point of view. The brands shouldn't be afraid to share this is how you're thinking. These are the struggles we're meeting. Sorry, we've not been online for this day. We can't do our website. But this communication should not only be when you have a new launch.
No.
Share every day. Talk every day.
Be
But
part
from
of everyday life.
not from an AI or monotonous thing. Just be real. It doesn't have to be a long talk.
Yes.
You don't have to get 20 people to even like you. Can even be one. If no people even like campaign, but do it for a while. And that's where the algorithm kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
Are we patient for it to happen? That's where people they falter. We need to believe that sometimes you can open a church.
True.
It's not every day to be full. One person will come the first day.
Mm-hmm.
For 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
1.5 people. And you're like, everybody loves.
Mm-hmm.
One day you come in and you see you can't get to your church. It's not those typical stages every day. It just happens. That's life. Are you patient for that? Because once it doesn't happen, you're like, I'm not comfortable with this. Let's break the church down. Let's go and do something else. Are you ready for that? Because that's the kind of era we live in where people could just be watching you for a while. They might not like, they might not engage, but they're seeing that you show up. And they might not even like your product, use it, but they admire that you show up. People have different kinds. They're very fast. I wanted to just call you directly. I like this thing you're doing. Can we work together? That's it. Because you show up. They believe that you believe in what you're doing, but they don't understand what you're doing. But they just believe that you do.
And your belief was enough
Your
for
belief
them
is just on
to
there because
invest.
that is the thing with brands. That is the thing with consumers.
Yeah.
You just show up.
Yeah.
Not with a 10 million naira campaign or 10-bit carousel.
Yeah.
You just share because you care. In a week, you could talk about the product. The other thing, you talk about what really concerns them. It's not about saying hello, Father's Day, Mother's Day. To me, those are there. It's about the consumer pain points. Today, we talk about.
Talk to me when it
Talk
matters
to me when
most
it matters
to
to
me.
me.
Not when everybody else is
sharing
talking
the same
to
thing.
me.
No, that's when you go silent.
Yeah.
Talk about real things. And the real things are not something you search for because we are real people. The issues you face when you go to the traffic, when you're stopped, the fear you face when you come on the console, all those are real emotional standpoints. When you go to the market and you want to buy something and the price has tripled, that's the tension right there.
Mm-hmm.
So tension is all around us. It's not something you have to call me to even tell you.
Mm-hmm.
It's can you share? Are you bold enough to tell the story?
Are you bold enough?
And can you share that story consistently with me without feeling, I've been saying this, nobody has connected, but I saw what my other brand is doing. Maybe we should be doing that too. Then maybe we should be doing that. Please change our you don't have you. So who are you?
Stay true to your journey.
Stay true to you.
Yeah.
It's not about likes anymore, impressions.
Yeah. It's not about that.
Yes, that's
Something comes across to me as you speak, and I'll share because I'm also a student of psychology.
Okay.
You know what they call the marshmallow test?
I've heard of it.
The marshmallow test, where you put kids in a room and you tell them, each of you take one marshmallow. I'll be back in 5 minutes. If you eat your marshmallow, that's it, Kalas. If you don't eat it, you get another one from me.
Mm-hmm.
And then it happens that most kids they tend to eat it after a couple of minutes.
After instructions,
because they forget I could get another one. What if I don't get another one? And then they go ahead and they eat it. And a few kids that don't eat the marshmallow, they get another one.
Two, and then
but later in life, it's discovered that those kids that never ate the marshmallow, it's called delayed gratification.
Yeah.
They were able to make better decisions in the future. They were able to be better leaders,
That's
obviously,
very
because
powerful.
of that.
Yes.
And it comes to me like you are probably one of those kids that will not eat the marshmallow.
to me, life is an opportunity cost. You don't take this, but there are investments or things that will come with this. I won't say A is bad. I won't say B is bad, but be ready to come with the consequences of whatever action you take.
Yeah.
Don't jump on A midway and you're loving the consequences of this and you jump on midway. You won't get either.
No, you will not get
either. If both of them will have their consequences
so you
and
preach
results.
Resilience
is key for marketing. Yes.
Focus.
Resonance.
Keep doing the right thing.
Doing the right. It might not even be the right thing. Let's not even preach. You might even be the right thing. You might even fail.
Yeah.
You fail.
But stay consistent.
Because that failure, you learn and you do it better.
Bravo.
To me, like I said, the process is now what a lot of smart people and individuals now even sell as value.
True.
It's not about I can create a campaign or a creative anymore. You want to learn how I do it.
Yeah.
I've done 15 startups today on LinkedIn. You see what some people share? I done 15 startups today.
Yeah.
I did 3x.
Yeah.
Click this to see how I did it.
Yeah.
100,000 people are clicking that ad. What? It's not about the thing he did. It's how you did it.
Yeah.
How you do the process is business right now.
Yeah.
So right now, brands need to learn that and embed those principles in them. It's not about I want to click or drink your dairy milk. first of all, because I might not even be looking out for it as a customer point of view. It's about the things that go into it from a nature and natural and nurturing perspective. What does it mean to that you say it's come from nature? How do you nurture with it? Why do you say it's natural? Then connect this with me, myself as a human being in terms of those three, or maybe as a mother in terms of how do I nurture my kids? What is natural to me? What do I do in a day-to-day life? And then what is natural to me? If you connect those things, then you begin to see signals that you can connect and you can build with. So share those three stories from a thematic level. Consistently to me, share those things, and one day I click on them, share them in different ways: a podcast, an audio, a digital magazine, a comic book, and an experience
Series.
and maybe one day I like it, I can do it your product, maybe, because the shop is there. But once I do this, I want to see who you are, and I'll say there's a product, and I'll download it on my own. But the thing is, you're just talking to me like I would listen to that guy that's always sharing something on YouTube. You're just not a friend. You've connected, you've bonded with me, which is why today we've moved from, like I said, from audience networks to bonded networks. So the communities you have, it's about how many of them have you bonded with, and not just the rich. So how many? Is it 10? Is it 15? Is it 20? To me, that's more powerful than 100,000 people
that
click on me, that like
that
you,
the views.
that I call you to an event and you don't come there. And you won't even participate with me. But those 20, they are my ritualists.
Your prophets.
They are my prophets. so that's more interesting to me, because they compound my algorithm for me. Each of them in their network has maybe 10 other people. I'll prefer to invest in those people over a 16 to 18 month period, seriously, and build a real strong religion with them about my product and experience. Because the next 5 years, you guys won't believe it. Because they believe, they know the product becomes just one of those other things.
Because of the power of the multiplier effect.
Multiplier effect. These are real networks.
10,000 loyalists are better than 1 million likes.
1 million likes.
Because the compound effect will come in the next couple of years.
So the question,
and they start growing in a quantum way.
The where the marketer or the businessman has to be restrictive of this is, I don't merely try to sell. I have 100%. Can we sell this product? Can we do this campaign? Do that with the agency and do that with your campaigns. Own these people for a while. They will buy what you want. At the point, they will ask you what you have. The thing is right there is, why should they care about you? Why do you matter? Can you answer those questions? What is the value of you in their everyday lives? Leave the point of product or brand or business. This now is from the perspective of the consumer. Me, day in the life, my consumer channel, I wake up. How are you sharing with me? What did you give me for motivation? What did you tell to me? Where did you tell me to go? How did I go? How long did I spend it? To whom did I spend it with? What are the things I came home, I felt sad? Did you share a story with me? Build those things. You become something they go to, they look up to. You become that altar they want to come to come and confess. And then you share. And then you cannot say, this is what you should now do. These are the verses you should now do. That's when your product spaces come into play. But you have to have the patience to build that altar. So that customer can take that pilgrimage to your religion. And that is where consistency plays in. So it's those brands that have that space to do that. It's that to say innovation is not for everybody. It's resilience over a period of time. It's very ambitious, it's audacious, it's bold, which is why there are very few of them that do something really, really crazy. That's why they call them rebels. Because they do not behave like you, but you admire them from afar. You're always looking at their exes and what they're tweeting about. If you want to be that, then you have to give room for things to bring about. You have to bring room for innovation. You have to bring room for development. You have to bring room for design. You have to bring room for nurturing. You have to compromise a lot. You have to wait for or demystify the quarterly reports and stuff. You have to put mind. You have to be not unafraid when it fails or is not consistent, to still plow in and say, okay, let's see what it could be.
Because it's about the belief.
And take the learning.
It's about the belief.
Yes.
It's about constant learning. It's
so
about feeding the loop.
Everybody can do that. And if you can know everybody, then it's fine. Like I said, it's not everybody. It doesn't mean you're doing wrong. It's just some people are meant to be this way, some people are meant to be that way.
Wow, quite intriguing, man. It's more than 1 hour now. We're exchanging ideas, and I said at the beginning that at the hour mark, you will not feel like stopping. First of all, you believe in what you do.
Absolutely.
You are very convinced about it.
Absolutely.
I like it also. More than like, I believe in it. And I believe we need to start looking at consumers in a different way. And the traditional ways of looking at consumers became old school. It's not just about the tribe. It's about the journey. It's not about the likes, the views. It's not about how many impressions did I create. It's about resonance. And the way to measure resonance are not people that come back alone, but people that come back with their friends,
Yes.
with their
The
family,
families,
creating
their
a
own networks.
community,
Exactly.
creating you call them prophet.
Asking for what part of you can I take with me? What slice of you can I have?
Can I have?
Yes.
Can I have? And then marinating them with your brand,
with your business and product.
depending on the power of the multiplying effect,
Yes.
and compound effect, and over time you can create a big community. You call it religion, even.
Yes.
A
It's true.
religion for
Yes.
your brand,
Something
and this
we call-
becomes the engine that takes your business into quantum leaps.
Absolutely.
Not just the superficial
Authentic
ways
authenticity.
of
Yeah,
putting
want to
one
reach.
celebrity in front of your
Yeah,
camera,
the
taking
celebrities.
pictures. Celebrities, as you said. For me, it's quite eye-opening. I'm sure lots of our audience also will share the same feeling. Franklin has been definitely, he believes in this, is invested in this, and is committed, as I see, to take it to great height. But one very wise thing you said, and I really call people wise. You said, I don't even know if I'm right. I just have a belief. I don't know if I'm right. But if I am wrong, it will be part of my feedback loop, and I will learn it, and I will become better. So knowledge is one, wisdom is another one. And it's a very wise thing to say. That I don't know if I'm right, but I'm willing to try. And if I'm not right, I'm going to get better, because I'm going to feedback it into my loop, and it's going to make me a better person. And that's very good. Thank you very much, Franklin, for coming on the show. And I'll give you one last word in case you want to say something else to our audience.
Okay. Life, we go through life through different stages.
Of course.
And for each stage of life, we face different kind of things.
Yeah.
Happiness, joy, peace, challenges. So ultimately, we can't always look at people from a point of consumption, because consumption is not about food or drink.
No.
They consume happiness, they consume sadness, they consume joy, they consume fear. So as a marketer, don't look at them from a point of product. Look at them from a product of life.
Wow.
Look at them from a product of, 3 key points, which is their head, their soul, and their spirit.
Wow.
So I always say 2 key things when I'm closing my presentations. Humans first, marketing next.
Bravo. I said you are wise, and then you went on to share more wise words. But thank you very much, Franklin. I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and I hope we keep close contact. Because if there is a chance to bring you back, I would love to bring you back, or to share ideas about what's happening in the industry and how we can really advance this belief, what you have, because I truly believe in it as well.
Journey, iterating as we go along. It's never what I'm doing right now. Is going to be updated like an OS.
Yes.
It's cultural OS.
Yes.
So I'm going to update it in December. I'm going to update it.
Absolutely.
Everyday belief is changing, constantly evolving here.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for having me. It's my pleasure to have you today.
Thank you, bro.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.